absolutely stunning Chicago skyline, the host of today's second day of the 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament on the Windy City Sports Network. And we welcome you to Curtis Granderson Stadium at Les Miller Field. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Malater for Game 2 of the Friday Senior Group. On the baseball side of things, we had a doozy of an opener at 8:30 in the morning. Now we're starting to settle in for 11 o'clock. It's Twins RBI and Indy RBI, two teams that were on the opposite ends of the spectrum a year ago. A Twins team that went 0 in this stage last time, this time, and an Indy team that we didn't see a ton of, but when we saw them, they were pretty darn good, Cav.
Yeah, a sneaky good 3-1 last year for this Indy RBI team, and everyone's like, "Boy, how'd they go 3-1 in Cleveland and Cincinnati both 3-1?" Well, because of some tiebreakers, no matter what situation, Indianapolis, no matter what they finished with, they finished at 3-1. They're going to be at the bottom end of that tiebreaker. So not a lot of people were talking about them, but hey, this is an opportunity for them to put themselves on the radar, open themselves up with a win. They get to play on the network for the first time since last summer. This is their second network game ever. So they hope to put themselves on the radar today.
And they will be on the batting end of things to open us up with Parker Richards, who's the center fielder today. Takes a first pitch strike from the Twins ace, Hino. There's another good one in there. It's a Twins team that looking to get back to their best. They weren't very good last year. Didn't win a game. Baxter Hino in a 1-1 count. It's Richards, then Shebley, and then Niendez, and it's a swing and a miss from Richards.
Yeah, and this is a spot here for the right-hander. He wants to establish that strike zone. He was good last year. He pitched in a couple of games a summer ago in the tournament, a key relief piece.
That one goes right back to the pitcher, Hano, and he tosses it over for the first out of the inning. So down goes Richards. A little routine 1-3 to open us up.
And right there, that's his bread and butter. He induces a lot of weak contact. Guys don't really swing the ball well against him and make a lot of hard contact against him. He was one of the few successful pitchers that this Twins side had a summer ago. He's back. He looks for another strong start, and right off to the bat, good start for him with that weak ground ball. You're going to be seeing a lot of that today, in my opinion.
Here's the pitcher, Charlie Schiebler. Maybe help his cause. You'll see him bottom half of this inning. If you're joining us from the opening softball game as well, and you're an Indy fan, well, they won 20-1 after 3 innings as Schiebler takes a healthy cut. Lefty steps in and is behind 0-1 with 1 away in the first.
That's a brutal one right there.
It wasn't pretty, from what I was told. I was not there.
We weren't there, but looking at the box score and talking to Austin Kroom and Henry Domine, they were both like, that was over from first pitch.
Schiebler has to swipe his feet aside. You ever been on the end of one of those where you just got shellacked by 10, 15 runs?
Team of mine I played on, I believe we were in Cooperstown. I think we lost 24-0. Yeah. It was a rough one.
That's bad.
Yeah.
1-1, and that one's inside as well. It's also low. Got a 2-1 count. We saw in the opening game, important to attack early, to be aggressive out of the gates. That's been the successful formula for really both teams that have attacked early on this 18U bracket. That one's down and into the dirt.
But what I've also noticed now, we're for 2 opening games now. The opening night game last night, the opener this morning. So far, both games, it's like a boxing match in a sense. In the first couple of innings, in both games, both teams both offenses are feeling the opposing pitchers out. They're trying just to hang in there, see what they're going to get, see how they can counter. And then the late innings is when the offensive explosions happened. Last night, most of the runs came in the 6th inning or later in that ball game as there's a 1-out walk. And this morning, the Reds were down 3-0, and they stormed back and won that ball game, outscoring that Kansas City team 9-2 down the stretch. Can you believe that?
Yeah, 5-run 5th and followed up by a 4-run 6th. They really got it going. Schiebler walked on just 5 pitches, and DJ Mendez, the shortstop, swings at the first one, pushes it up the middle for a base hit down the ground, and back-to-back base runners all ready for Indy, picking up where they left off a year ago.
Yeah, That's why they were so good, and yet they went so on the radar. They didn't have the pop or the power that you would expect from a team that went 3-1 in this tournament last year. They're just consistent, small ball type of team. They're station to station on the base paths. They don't try to take that extra 90 feet unless it's a gimme. And this is a golden opportunity for them today to once again prove and show their identity of baseball to the entire region.
This is Seth Hogg, who's the first baseman today. Rough start for Baxter Hino, 2023 prospect, Edison High School. And that one's lifted into left field. Camping underneath it at first, but he went in too quickly was Sadowski coming around his one runner. And another runner going to third. It's a 1-0 ball game. Schiebler's in for the first run of the game. Indy with a first inning lead right away with only one out.
And that right there is just a tough play out there in left field for Sadowski. He misjudged that baseball right off the bat. The first step as an outfielder always has to be back. Your first step always has to be back. They preach that. Coaches at every level preach that. His first step was in. He charged because he thought that ball was going to die. It kept on carrying. The wind has played a lot of funny tricks on the baseballs today. We saw that in the morning game as well. And right there, it does it again and gives Indy an early lead.
That's a double for Seth Hogg. And here's Nate Olson, the third baseman. Two runners in scoring spots with just the one out. An 0-1 count, the beautiful Chicago skyline in the backdrop. Hano fires. That one's popped up. It's coming back. It's not going to get to us. Is it going to stay in play? It does. And a great job behind the dish from the Twins catcher, Lensmeyer. And that's the second out of the frame.
Right there. That's exactly what Hano needed in that scenario. He needed an out in which they didn't allow a base runner to advance. And he does so right there. Good job by him.
Here's the sixth man, Nate Mendoza, playing right field, wearing number 7. This Indy team from Circle City, that's what they wear across their chests in the script lettering. Here's the 0-1. It drops in and got him there for strike number 2.
Yeah, and this is big here. If Hano can get out of this inning with just the 1 run allowed, that's huge. That's a win in your book because last inning in which there was
chopped down and it's going to be playable for the catcher. And Kevin, finish your thought as the inning ends with a run across the board for Indy.
The first inning in the first game the Twins played, they gave up a 7 spot. So this is automatically a much better improvement right there. Nice job facing some adversity and getting fruit by the young bright-handed pitcher.
Twins Nike RBI trying to turn the page. We turn the page to the bottom half of the first. It's 1-0 Indy Nike RBI. Home half of the first from Curtis Granderson Stadium, Les Miller Field in beautiful Chicago, Illinois. Fred Myers, Peter Duma, and Walsh, the 3 due up for a Twins team that's come all the way from Minnesota looking to finally get a win under their belts, Cav.
Yeah, and this was a struggle. We talked about it a little bit in the first inning. They just struggled on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what bit them is that they struggled on the mound, but sometimes you can afford to be weaker with your pitching staff if you have an offense that can keep up. But unfortunately for them, just their offense just could not keep up with the other teams. Now, granted, they got a really tough draw last year. And that's a really good curveball in there, too. Really tough draw. They got Cleveland in the first game. They got a good Cincinnati team in the second game. They got the powerhouse and eventual RBI World Series champion in the White Sox in the third game as well. I mean, they were, unfortunately, just based off how their roster was constructed, set up to fail in that sense.
So after 2 early strikes, Charlie Schiebler has thrown 2 straight balls, and that one got a piece of Fred Myers' bat. The windup here from Schiebler, unorthodox, and that's going to be something we'll check in on throughout this contest. Take a look at it here. It's a little bit of a twist, a full turn. He doesn't go all the way there, but he's changing it up every time as that one's down in the dirt and it's a full count.
Yeah, and the purpose of that is to really just affect the hitter's timing, because he's just trying to mess with them. Because sometimes guys will do that because you're trying to change the look, especially if you're going in the same spot twice.
As he got him to go there, and that's strike number 3. Myers goes down swinging.
And that's exactly the purpose of doing that. When you go from that hesitation to delivery, the hitter is just by natural instinct is going to wait on that low once you see you go up. But then when you come straight back, your timing's all thrown off. Your fastball becomes a lot faster, even if the velocity is the same. To the hitter's perception, it's coming in much faster because of just how you're delivering the baseball.
Little leg kick is almost Nestor Cortez-like, where he's just going to kind of stunt you a little bit.
For sure.
This is Peter Duma, the second baseman, wearing 44. He's wearing 12 today, but he's also wearing 44. We got a 12 and a 44 on our roster sheet. Either way, swings at that one and falls behind 0-2. So the pitcher's gotten ahead twice now in both ABs. Now he goes full twist, and he misses outside.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this since probably the Johnny Cueto when he was in his prime with, those red teams, those Royal teams, especially when he was with the Giants. That's when he really was known for that. That's a good 12-6 curveball there over the inside corner. My goodness.
And he's dotting him up, and, prime Johnny Cueto was something to watch. He was special, wasn't he?
He was absolutely sensational. As an opposing fan, you saw him on the opposing probable pitching line, and you went, man, that's going to be a tough time against him tonight, and we're going to be lucky to get a run, maybe 2 runs if we're having a great night offensively. 2 runs against prime Johnny Cueto was a good night for an offense.
It was a great night, and there's another. It's that leg kick that's getting me, because sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's got some speed to it. It's fascinating to just watch him work as it's time called at the plate for Aiden Walsh, the shortstop. James Cray's on deck. In the hold is Jonas Sadowski, who made the mistake out in left field that led to the run for Indy in the top half of this inning. And it's Eric Kane, Ezra Kuznia, as they did not walk him. I was going to say, it wasn't a walk. It didn't look like it hit him, and Walsh claimed it grazed him. Umpire says, no way. After Kuznia, it's going to be Alexander Lensmeyer, followed up by Baxter Hano, the pitcher. That one paints the corner, and it's 1-2.
And right there, that's got to be so frustrating if you're Walsh that's there and you think you get hit by a pitch. You probably did get hit by a pitch, but because the contact was so minimal, it's not heard. Sometimes umpires listening for contact there in terms of if it gets hit in your hand or whatnot. And then you take a strike.
Conversation going on between our home plate umpire and Walsh.
They're trying to figure out the count right now. Walsh just said, so is it 2-1 or 1-2? Because the scoreboard read 1-2.
We'll see what the ump flashes with the fingers. It's always his call. I've got 1-2.
Yeah. That's why I have 2. Based off the hand signal, obviously.
It's tough to see sometimes. Here's the 1-2. Doesn't matter. It's whacked into the right field area. It's in shallow territory, and coming in to make the play is Nate Mendoza, and it's quick work for Indy on the defensive side of things. They might have an ace up their sleeve. It's 1-0 through 1 on WCSN. second inning here. Indy back at the plate. Ryan Sikora, Kevin Malater on the call. It's Bryson Bethel, Daniel Cross, and Julian Patton. 7, 8, 9 due up for Circle City. Bethel, the left fielder. Cross at second, Patton behind the dish. Still facing Baxter Hano. Gave up the 1 run in the opening frame. That's a swing and a miss from Bethel. It's a Circle City team that, again, a lot of success last year. We just didn't get to see a lot of them here on Windy City Sports Network. And when we did get to see them, they were at the bottom of a tiebreaker. So they had no chance of advancing, so there wasn't much drama in it for them. That one's chopped slowly to the third base coach. It's a nice grab.
They were playing, essentially, they were playing for another city vicariously. Another city was playing for them vicariously pretty much with the way Indy played, and that was Cleveland. In last year's final game of pool play, the all drama, a 9 p.m. local start time because of all the rain delays that happened that day. And Indy came back. They stormed back. They won a game late as well. I mean, that was such a fun game and one of the best games of the tournament in my mind last year, just because of all the drama that was trying, not just because of the game on the field, but like Indy trying to go to 3-1 is still something not to be too shabby about.
We had 2 full teams watching it for the action. Bethel slaps one down. That was in foul territory, and it stays there. So it's an 0-2 count for the class of 23 kid from Cathedral High School. Wonder how much that game and that atmosphere, knowing that they can't get to the final, but they were really good last year, has motivated this year's group. Maybe a chance to step 1 rung further. Hano works from first base side of the rubber and fires one in. That one's coming straight back. It's just over our heads and comes back down, hits the protective netting. So it's 0-2 again. A lot of foul balls here. He was right on that one.
He really was. Just got underneath it. Sometimes that's for dropping the back shoulder. If you're a hitter, you're trying to swing up on a breaking ball. You're trying to get the elevation on a hanger. And sometimes you drop that back shoulder too much. When you do that, your bat's going to go up. The ball will go up with it.
That one gets away from Hano and just misses. Fred Myers is in right field. Ezra Kuzny is in center, and left it's Jonas Sadowski. Get to the infield in a second. Here's the 1-2. Swung on and hit hard towards third. It's gloved. It's going to be a tricky throw as he gets up, collects, and fires on over for the first out of the inning. That's Eric Kane, the third baseman. Next to him at shortstop is Aiden Walsh. The second baseman is Peter Dauma. First baseman, James Cray. Behind the dish is Alex Lensmeyer, all supporting Baxter Hano on the bump.
Yeah, and right there, those are the type of plays that this Minnesota team, frankly, just did not have last tournament whatsoever. I mean, they were, in a nice way to put it, they had holes all across on all parts of the field last season, on the offensive side, on the defensive side, and on the pitching staff. And you know, it's not because they're not trying or anything like that. It's just simply it's just kind of how it unfolded that weekend, where there's just numerous errors defensively, and the offense just never get going. That right there, the plays that I think Dave Winfield, last year's coach, wanted badly, and he wanted those type of plays badly, and there's the effort that they were looking for from their team.
And sometimes you can chalk that down to a bad week.
Yeah.
Like there's weeks where you can't hit through holes and you can't find him at the plate, and sometimes you can't just close them up on the defensive side of things.
Exactly. Like even the best teams in the world, they go through those slumps. They have those peaks and valleys, and just it's unfortunate that it happened for this team last year at the worst possible time in a regional tournament with a spot in the RBI World Series possibly on the line, depending on how you play throughout that weekend. Just unfortunate that all those things happen and kind of collapse at the same time for them. Just really unfortunate.
Yeah, you drop your toughest week on the biggest stage. This is a 3-1 count to Daniel Cross, the second baseman. And that one's way inside, and Cross will work his way onto the path. Already a lot of guys are getting on for Indy.
The fourth base runner that Hano has allowed out there on the bump. And this is an opportunity now for Patton to flip the lineup card over. We saw in that first game Finley providing a great double leadoff man, essentially the number 9 hole hitter. If they have some speed and they can get on base through contact or just because of their great patience, they're often referred to as the double leadoff man, and that's what I want to see here from Patton. Become that double leadoff, flip the lineup card over.
Swung on and pushed out into foul territory. The first baseman trying to go get it, and he ran out of any sort of room. That ball dropping way too fast. This is the curious thing now about game number 3 in this senior pool, the 18U pool. We've seen the 2 Chi-Town teams. We've seen Cincinnati. We've seen Kansas City. And now we get a chance to see teams 5 and 6 in our faces. You start to get a feel of the pecking order now a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the thing, and really this afternoon is going to be a great example of it. Once these teams now go for the second time through, as these 2 teams wrap up their pool play in their first round and first opening games, this afternoon becomes the real test. You get to see kind of where everyone stacks up initially. You get your first impression from then. And there, that's when the pecking order is truly decided. That second game, to me, is the big determiner.
Cross went. It was a foul ball, so he had to go all the way back. Did he go? They ask. They say no, he didn't.
And because to me, the second game, even the first game is obviously the most important. We want to set the tone, and they're all important.
Runner goes this time. It's the same result. A foul ball down the third base line, and Patton drawing out this AB.
Good at bat. It's what you want from the number 9 hole hitter. And back to what I was saying, though, but to me, probably the most underrated game in a 4-game pool play tournament is the second game, because it shows you how does a team respond. How does a team, when they lose a game, like how will Kansas City respond after dropping that game in that fashion? Lead the entire way, they blow the game late. And for a team like Cincinnati, what's the confidence levels? Are they too confident? Can they handle being come from behind victors and then coming back later in the day and having to play a whole new ball game?
Runner goes. This time the throw is high. Sliding feet first goes cross, and almost looked like he took the air out of the guy at second underneath him. That was almost really awkward for Aiden Walsh. Shortstop Peter Dauma is the second baseman. But we get cross to second. We get a 1-2 count to the 9 hitter, the catcher Julian Patton. Parker Richards, the leadoff man on deck. 1-2 outside, and we even it up.
You mentioned that awkward interaction. They're all talking and smiling over there right now at second base. They all were kind of thinking what you were thinking, that was almost a really tough situation for some guy out there up in the middle.
There's the 2-2. It's smacked into the sky. It's going to be in foul territory. It might be playable. It's going to lose itself in the air, but in comes the second baseman down to make the play. Second out of the inning. They hold the runner cross at the second base, and it's 2 away. That's an interesting development there as well, the conversation. We didn't see that yesterday between the 2 the Southsiders and the Northsiders. You never are. We didn't see that in the morning game. It was really competitive. Perhaps the kids were tired. We're starting to see a little bit more of like the, hey man, how you doing? Hey man, how you doing? I'm doing all right. It's hot.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, it's the exchanging of pleasantries that you don't often see. You mentioned the 9 a.m. game, or the 8:30 game, really. That everyone is tired. The players are, no matter how much you go through that, thinking, oh, I'm ready to go, you're still playing a baseball game at 8:30 in the morning. It's not your same routine. Especially if you're a pitcher and you're a starting pitcher, your routine looks a lot different for an 8:30 game. So a lot of guys, this start time, 11 a.m. is about the earliest they'd ever want to start a game right now, because you have that energy. You can kind of get some resemblance of your pregame routine. And right now, I think you can see it by the play. We've had good plays so far. Plus, everyone's excited to be here.
Well, wouldn't you be? 1-0 to Richards, the leadoff hitter. First inning, he chopped one straight back to the pitcher. Swings at that one down the third base line. It's gathered and tossed, and that should be routine, and it is. Indianapolis Strand 1. They have a 1-0 lead through 1.5. Home half of the second on the way on the Windy City Sports Network. 2, 1-0 Indianapolis Circle City. Nike RBI 3-1 a year ago, on top so far against a Minnesota team who's come a long way, trying to get the bats firing against a tricky little pitcher in Charlie Schiebler. 2 up in this inning. It's 4-5-6. James Cray, the first baseman. Jonas Sadowski is the left fielder. And Eric Kane is the third baseman. He bats third, and that's an early hit by pitch to get Cray onto the path, the first man to reach today for Minnesota, the Twins.
And as much as it feels like Indy's controlling this game, hey, look, the tying run just reached base. Now I know it's very early. We still got a lot of play left. Obviously, that Kansas City-Cincinnati game was the perfect example of that. But hey, they put a base runner on right now, play some small ball here, and try to get that run back and tie this game.
Bunt shown there from Sadowski, who's probably the main man at fault, or at least probably in his head for that opening run. And as you brought up a little bit earlier in the first inning, much better start for the Twins than their opening game a year ago.
Yeah, I mean,
that one's smacked towards the second baseman. It drops down. It's tough to grab. They're going to try and toss over to 2. They're going to get Cray. They won't get Sadowski. And that's going to be a fielder's choice to keep one runner on the base path to get the lead man.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think a lot is better than a 16-0.
It's hard to do it's hard to do worse.
It's hard to do worse than 16-0 in defeat in your first game last tournament time. So I think also there's also, I think, that dugout, looking at him right now.
Runner goes, they're going to have a chance here. They didn't get him. The tag just missed, and Sadowski timed the slide to perfection.
I thought there was a great slide. I thought he got him. I mean, that was a great tag right there. Maybe just that ball maybe popped down. Maybe he didn't secure it, and so he kind of was late and hesitant on getting the tag, but the ball definitely beat him there. But hey, that's a base right there by Sadowski to get the second base there.
And we've learned Julian Patton can hose him from behind home plate.
Yes, he can.
This is Eric Kane, the third baseman. Chop through the middle. It's going to be scooped up by the man at short. There's a play at first. It's going to be in time. It's good stuff from DJ Mendez to get Kane out. Moving on over to third goes Sadowski, and Ezra Kuznia has a man 90 feet from the bag, a chance to tie him.
That was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I mean, credit Kane there for some great hustle and a hard 90 down the line, trying to beat out that ball.
Ooh. Hey, watch it, bro.
Yes. Kuznia almost took a ball in the back right there. Way to get out of that one.
Sirens blare in the Chicago background as that pitch comes in. And it's a little low. It's a 3-0 count. This is good for Kuznia. St. Agnes High School, class of 24. Strike. 2 away in the bottom of the second. Inside, Kuznia's walked on 5 pitches. Runners go to the corners for the 8th hitter, the catcher, Alex Lensmeyer. We didn't see Minnesota in a lot of opportunistic spots like this a year ago.
No, we really didn't, and they're being much more patient with their at-bats this year. They're being a lot more patient. Sorry for stepping on you there. A lot more patient. They're creating good at-bats, and they're driving up opposing pitch counts. And that's exactly what you want to see in this scenario, and that's why they're threatening here.
There seems to be a lot more experience with the group. Here's the 0-1. Runner's going to go. Kuznia, there's going to be no throw. Really wise from Patton behind home plate with the runner at third. As both guys getting the scoring spots.
I mean, that was right there the perfect example of that. That
0-2, swing and a miss. Got him to go, and that's all you can ask for. Third strikeout of the day already. For Charlie Schiebler, it's 1-0 after 2. Top of the third, 1-0 Indy. Back at the plate here. Charlie Schiebler, DJ Mendez, Seth Hogg. That's 2-3-4. Facing Baxter Hano, who's still on the bump. Minnesota very much in this game, in this contest. Indy legged out a couple of results a year ago. They were a good team, really good in close games. Lots of baseball left to be played today, especially in this game. And Schiebler, who took some hefty cuts his first time up. It's a big one there. Was a run scored, the only one of this game, off a walk in the first inning. Pushes that one straight down into the turf. It's stuck on the turf.
Talk about helping yourself out right there. You get on base with a walk and you later get drove in by your teammate right there. And then you hold your own lead too. I mean, that's impressive right there.
Yeah, 3 Ks through the first 8 batters for him on the hill. Smacks that one opposite field. Underneath it is Bethel, and he makes the play. Rather, Sadowski makes the play this time. That's the first out of the inning.
Out there, Hano keeps attacking the strike zone, and I've been really impressed by him. He's got beaten around a couple times. When he leaves the ball up, that's when he's susceptible to those extra base hits, like we saw that double by Hogg in the first inning. But overall, though, when he keeps the ball low, he's getting those ground balls that I talked about at the beginning of this game. And that's exactly what his strategy is, and that's what he's done so far.
Brings in DJ Mendez, broke the seal on this game with a single. In the first, got stranded on third in that frame after Schiebler scored. What's Hano need to do to settle in? Not that, it's lined right to the shortstop, and it's a great play made. How about Aiden Walsh web gemming it up?
Yeah, that's a web gem right there and a half. I mean, he timed that up perfectly. He waited. A lot of times the natural instinct is to jump right away. He waited a split second, took one step back, and that's when he began his jump, and he made the nice catch. He timed it up perfectly.
And he takes that step back. He wastes that half second, but by taking that step back, he gives himself a half second more to go and be able to make that play, yes?
Exactly, and also giving himself that extra half second allows him to read the baseball better, and then he's able to time his jump up even more better than that, be more successful with it.
Aiden Walsh robs a surefire base hit. It's a 1-0 count to Seth Hogg. We're 2 up, 2 down here in the third for Minnesota on the defensive side. There's a good pitch from Hano. Goes off speed and puts one in there. Hogg had the RBI double. Chop back, it's 1-2.
And I think for him, he's trying to be too overly aggressive right now. You saw that violent swing, and a lot of times the violent swing will pay off, but right now just kind of ease on back a little bit.
1-2, here we go. Hit hard towards the third baseman, Kane. It's a long throw, and it's in time. Baxter Hano in Minnesota waking up into this one. They've retired 4 straight. We go to the bottom of the third on Windy City Sports Network's second page. Minnesota, bottom half of the third, the pitcher Baxter Hano, Fred Myers, Peter Dauma. It's 9-1-2 as they flip over to the top of the order, facing Charlie Schiebler. 3 Ks through his first 8 batters faced. And first offering to his rival on the day, Hano, is in there for strike number 1. Beyond just the theatrics as he works quickly here, Hano taking a very defensive swing. He's clearly there for the pitching. He's not seeming too interested there. Beyond the theatrics of Schiebler, what are we seeing that's been so successful for the Indy Ace?
Well, for me,
as that was about as easy as 1, 2, 3. Baxter Hano goes down for the 4th K through the first time of the order.
he didn't use it there, but for me, what's been so impressive has been his curveball. That 12-6 motion right there. He's bent it beautifully. The big thing is, though, the consistency that has come with that pitch. A lot of times, the curveball, while it is pretty much kind of the go-to breaking ball that everyone throws, and it's kind of like a basic pitching 101.
As he double pumps there and was a little bit up and away for ball 1.
It is the hardest pitch to get consistent, but once you're able to get consistent with it, it becomes a deadly pitch as well, and there you see it right there.
Front door, and this is Fred Myers, who struck out swinging in the first. 1-1 count with 1 away. Myers pushes that one. It's a slow mover. That's going to get down. Is it going to be enough for a base hit? It is. He legs it out on the way. The throw is off, and Fred Myers reaches with 1 out.
Yeah, and right there, great piece of hitting there. Myers looked uncomfortable, just kind of like Hano did in that at bat too, but he just got a good piece on it, got enough of it in which he kind of hit in a no man's land and was lucky that no one was really there to get it.
Here's Peter Dauma, second baseman. Struck out looking. His first time up in the first. He's got 1 aboard with Myers. Eden Walsh in the on-deck circle, 1 out in the 3rd inning. That's the first hit of the game on Schiebler. Wind is blowing heavily from left to right. And a little bit outward towards the batter's eye at Les Miller Field. 1-1, 1 out. Tried that curveball again to sneak it in and couldn't find the success there. It's a risky pitch to throw in those kinds of spots. If you miss on it, you're giving up a free bag against these right-handed batters. That one's smacked right field. It's a line drive. It's played a diving catch. Mendoza, they're going to turn 2. He dropped the ball. Should have been a double play to end the inning. Mendoza with a great play in the outfield and hog the first baseman. Couldn't hold on, but that's 2 outs, and Myers will stay at first.
What was so good about that is the way he read that ball perfectly. He knew he was going to have to go after a ball that was dying quickly, and he had no hesitation whatsoever. Sometimes guys will hesitate before the dive, and that's where you see those missed dives sometimes. We saw it earlier. There was no hesitation. He was full frontal. He was going for that baseball, and he got it.
Schiebler works. There's that curve, and it sneaks on in against Eden Walsh.
It's so good, that curveball. The way it just drops on that vertical axis is just something excellent.
There's a Chipotle?
One with 2 outs.
How far is that one?
Runner's going to go. The throw is not very good. It's way off, almost towards the shortstop. Time Julian.
Let me take a swig. Where's the church?
Yeah, unfortunately for Pat,
with the big old cross?
ground ball to short there rather than attempt at a stolen base. Trying to get that runner there. Another base runner in scoring position for the Twins here. Good opportunity for them. 1 hit, especially placed in the right spot, and tie this ball game up.
2 away on a 1-1 count to Walsh, the shortstop for Minnesota. He's called time. Get out, pitcher and hitter. I have to imagine Schiebler's going to rely on this curveball that seems to be his go-to. Goes to it right down Broadway for strike number 2.
And the other thing that's helped him is that the way he's mixed those pitches too. It's just something that just is, it's pro stuff, it's college stuff right here that he's throwing right now, just the way he's mixing it. He only has 2 pitches so far, but he's been mixing so effectively.
1-2 is chopped. It's going to be a chance if they can get time. The third baseman takes his time. Did he leg it out? He did. What an effort from Aiden Walsh, and runners go to the corners with 2 away.
Yeah, and right there, great hustle. And that's a tough decision right there made by the infielders in that scenario. You had Olsen and Mendez on the left side. Mendez was charging. Olsen was the cutoff man. Olsen elected to cut off that baseball and try to make the throw, and instead turned into another base runner here.
Runner goes, and they're not going to make the throw, so Walsh gets in the scoring position. So it's a runner on second and third for James Cray, who was hit by a pitch and tossed out at second on a fielder's choice back in the second inning. 1-0 count, swing and a miss from Cray. 2 outs. We go to 1-1 in the bottom of the third. Minnesota trying to get on the scoreboard. Swing and a miss again from Cray, and here is the rhythm. Hasn't struck out a batter since he got Lensmeyer and Haino back to back. Here's the 1-2. Down and away. Good eye. It's a tough one to not swing at for Cray.
Yeah, it really is. He's been so good thus far.
It's just away as well. Same spot, full count, 2 outs. Bottom of the third, runner in scoring position on second and third. Schiebler works quickly, and he got him on the outside corner. Schiebler swords a man and ends the third. It's 1-0 Indianapolis. They look pretty good. Welcome back to the Windy City Sports Network's presentation of the 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional from Chicago, Illinois, and Curtis Granderson Stadium. Ryan Secor, Kevin Malater. On the broadcast for you today, it's Indy and Minnesota. That one is lined. It's in fair territory. It's collected by the third baseman. That's a long throw. It's actually pretty accurate from Kane, the third baseman, but it's not in time to get the leadoff batter for Indianapolis Circle City, Nate Olson, who is safe at first with a leadoff single. It's Olson, Mendoza, Bethel. The three due up for Indy with a 1-0 lead. That 1 run coming in the first inning.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love the hustler by Kane. You know, he shows that he wasn't giving up on that ball despite where it was being hit. And, you know, that's the type of effort you want to see from this Twins team. That's the effort that they gave last year in this tournament, despite what their records show. They put in a lot of great effort. There's a lot of guys who really put their all in this week, and they just couldn't get the results they wanted. And here you're seeing them again.
Runner goes as that one's popped up into shallow center field. Nobody's going to come in and find it. Now they're going to get the man at second because he didn't make his run in time. Those are always tough to judge. So Nate Olson, the lead runner, out at second. Nate Mendoza moves to first on a fielder's choice single. It's quite the tough one to judge out there.
It's tough because you're running on the pitch, And the second you hear contact, you're immediately listening. The dugout in that scenario is supposed to communicate, and if you hear the word up, you're supposed to freeze and locate the baseball. He located the baseball. He saw that it was dying towards center field. The center fielder was coming in.
Runner's gone again. That's a good throw. It's not in time. A great slide in from Mendoza, but we're seeing the catchers have some work as well.
And from there, you have a choice to make. He's trying not to get doubled off at first base. Meanwhile, the center fielder in Uzny has been out there, and he's thinking, I probably can't make this for the first. How can I get this out if I'm not going to be able to make this catch? Oh, I let it drop in front of me, and I just get the guy out at second base.
Corner. It's 1-1. Bryson Bethel, the left fielder, rounded into a 5-3 his first time.
I don't know when they come back.
Checks the runner. Swings on it. Bethel got a lot of it. Pushes it into foul territory. It's perhaps playable in the left fielder. Just missed it. Sadowski has had a lot of action over there. Could have made the play, but couldn't quite find it.
Yeah, and he's trying to find it in the sun right now. Where the sun is sitting in the sky. It's pretty much right over top parts of the ballpark, and it's really going to be affecting those outfielders, especially left and center field today, because you're staring straight up at it.
Bethel definitely went, and down he goes. It's only the second strikeout of the day for Baxter Hano.
Yeah, and right there, that's what Hano needed to do in that scenario. Get that strike, get out of this inning. Keep it on moving. He needs to get out of this inning right now. That strikeout's a big way to get it to do it.
It's away from the catcher. There might be a chance to play it at third. Just too quick is Mendoza on the path. Lensmeyer couldn't get up in time. And it's a free base for the right fielder, Nate Mendoza, 90 feet away from making it a 2-0 ball game.
Yeah, if you're crossing the plate right now, the approach is simple, short, simple. Don't swing anything too aggressive right now. There's 2 outs. Seek your pitch and then attack.
Hano winds. It's hit hard and towards the gap, and it's going to get down for a base hit on the ground. RBI single for Daniel Cross. It's a 2-0 ball game. Mendoza scores in Indy. In these close games, those free bases can often mean so much. They get a little bit of healthy insurance on the board.
Yeah, they do. And that's a great piece of opposite field hitting right there. Cross the short, simple approach that I was just talking about. Fastball away. He takes it that way. He's laid on it. But when you take it that way with a fastball in the outside corner, you're supposed to drive to that right side of the field. He did just that. You seek it out, you drive it, you attack it, you double up your team's lead.
Yeah, bro.
One's away and outside to Julian Patton, the catcher.
You gotta come over to get some fruit. You can get some.
No, I'm talking about jerk.
Got him in a pickle, perhaps. It's a weird throw. It's a great stop from the shortstop, Walsh. That one could have gotten through, and it could have been a disastrous moment. Daniel Cross goes to second, his second stolen bag of the day. We're seeing they've got speed.
Yeah, they're showing it off right now.
That is good.
And sometimes you gotta be lucky and good right there. That was a great jump. You got caught off there. You probably should have been picked out, but the speed alone helped him out.
Blowing away.
I always hear it before I see it.
Cross in a scoring spot with 2 away. Top of the 4th. That one's outside. It's a 3-0 count. The catcher, Julian Patton, 0 for 1 today. If you're Minnesota, it's all about damage limitation. Get out of the inning. Keep yourself in this game. We saw so many times last year where something would go wrong and the game would just get away from Twins Nike RBI. Chopped straight on back by Patton. It's going to be striking the game.
You're totally right. And the other thing was actually the confidence levels. That was a big part of it. Right now, they're still very confident. The 2-run ball game right now, as they enter the later innings, they're still in this ball game. Last year, the confidence, the second anything bad happened, the confidence immediately dropped. They didn't have it anymore. And then when you don't have confidence, you're kind of all up in your head because you're upset. That's when those physical errors start to take place. And then, like you said, it unravels from there.
Pitch walk to Julian Patton, and it flips over to the top with Parker Richards. And that's not what you want. You had the 9-hitter, you had a perfect chance to get out of the inning, and you walk him, flips over, and it's 1-2-3 coming on up. Courtesy run for Patton.
Let's go, Twins!
Catcher goes out, and it's Cairo Parks who's going to be the new runner into the game at first. Parks, a Anderson High School recruit.
Hey, bro, where's Kevin at? I'm coming over.
Here's Pike High School's Parker Richards. Gets away, and Ismeyer much quicker off his saddle to make sure both runners stay where they're at.
Right there. I like how both runners stayed there. Earlier in this inning, in that same exact situation, pretty much the ball into the same spot. Both runners advanced right there. Not the case.
Oh, no. See, that's the big watermelon.
The mental medal here is absolutely everything. Here's the pitch. It's got to catch the corner, and it does. 1-1 we go.
He needed that one badly. I mean, just after the RBI single and then the 5-pitch walk, you need something for that confidence. And sometimes one strike can do it as a pitcher.
Swing and a miss from Richards. He's ahead. 1 pitch away from getting out.
One more. 2 down, you guys.
One and two outside. Richards wouldn't chase that one. We got a long day of baseball ahead of us. This game 2 of 5. We're going to be here at Curtis Granderson just about every step of the way. 2-2, 2 outs. Hit right back up the middle, off the glove of Haino. The second baseman's going to get it. The runner got in his way. They won't call anything. Coming around to score is Indianapolis. Daniel Cross makes it a 3-0 ball game. Stuck at second is the courtesy runner for Patton Parks, and at first goes Parker Richards.
And right there, Baxter Haino right now is riding his mitt down in frustration because he got a piece of it. He lets that ball go. It's going over right up the middle, and Down was able there to take it and just probably step on the back to end the inning. Instead, the inning stays alive. And granted, it's not his fault, obviously. I mean, it's a weird play where that happens, but it's just unfortunate. He's probably blaming himself for that.
And those have to be so tricky for a middle infielder. You see that ball going right up the middle. You're going to take a step inside towards second base, and then it goes off the glove of your pitcher. It's going away closer to first base, and now you've got all your momentum drifting in to completely turn the other way and go outside.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that there's a runner coming into your line of vision too when you're trying to chase after that baseball, so you're trying not to run into the batter.
Schiebler lifts one into center field. Underneath it, can of corn for Kuzniak. And the inning is over. Not before Indianapolis can grab 2. We'll go to the break and get Cavan's sandwich order when we come back. fourth inning, Twins back at the plate and trying to get some runs going. We mentioned going to break, long day of baseball. We're getting lunch, right?
Yeah.
What do you get?
Well, it depends. Where are we going?
Swing and a miss from Sadowski. Was the leadoff batter. Sadowski, Kane, Kuznia got the last out of that last frame. Potbelly, I believe, is where we're getting food, right?
Yeah.
Big local sandwich shop for you, Mr. Chicago.
Yeah.
What do you get? You know the local order. What do you get?
I'm a very simple man, especially on a hot day like today working sandwiches. I'm just getting the good old classic turkey and cheese. You can never go wrong with that, in my opinion.
1-1, ball knocked up the middle. Is that going to drop into the middle of the triangle? It will, and that's a base hit. Lead-off single for Jonah Sadowski.
What's yours?
I think I went with the avocado turkey.
That's a good one. That's a good choice.
Some health with the avocado.
The West Coast came out with you when you brought out the
Some
avocado.
overratedness with the avocado. Some classic with the turkey. Can't go wrong with some avocado turkey.
Tell you from the West Coast, you put avocado on a sandwich. It's a good sandwich, though. Look at that. It's a good sandwich.
I lived in the West Coast for 5 years of my 20, 6 of my 20.
That's over a quarter.
I believe you need a 50% vote to be considered, at least over 50% vote to be considered a majority. So I don't agree with your logic still. Eric Kane, the third baseman's on a 1-1 count against Charlie Schiebler, who's still having his way. He's got 5 Ks through the first 15 or so batters. That one smack that's going to find its way into the gap. The checked run from Sadowski is going to make it a play. It got through the glove of Mendoza. Sadowski's coming on over to third, and safely at second is Kane, and that's a double to put runners on second and third.
Oh.
Now Minnesota's going to cook.
They're going to try to cook. Man. Sadowski slipped around second base after the ball got by the right fielder
Let's go, 4-5.
in Mendoza. And boy, if he didn't slip, he had a hard turn and he had a very good turn around third base. He may have gone for it right there and gone for the plate there, but maybe the slip cost him. But
RBI.
overall, though, Twins are in a great spot here. 2 on and 0 out. Good spot.
Tying run comes to the dish in the bottom of the fourth inning with nobody away. A prime opportunity for Minnesota to capitalize. That one smacked into center field. Going back is Richards. He's going to make the play, hoodie and all. Runner tags at third and walks her in untouched. That's the first run of the game for the Minnesota Twins Nike RBI team. And Jonah Sadowski takes credit for it. 3-1 game with 1 away in the bottom of the fourth.
And right there, that's just heads-up base running. That's how Sadowski got the third on the play. And it's overall a good inning and a good start to this inning. They're not done yet, though. They still got that runner on second base. Golden opportunity here to make it a 1-run game.
Kane stays in scoring position. Lensmeyer comes up 0 for 1 today with a strikeout swinging that ended the second inning. That one painted the corner. No, it didn't. It just missed. 1-1
Go Twins.
with 1 out.
Oh, they drive them crazy, but
It's down, got away for a second from Patton, but kept it in front.
That's a great block right there by Patton. He knows that runner cannot go any further. He knows just to keep him there with only 1 out of the inning.
He's outside. It's 3-1. Patience from these bottom guys. With the 1 out, especially the pitcher Haino's on deck. We know he's not much of a threat to swing at anything, so Lensmeyer really can't get out here. It's almost a guaranteed end of the inning. They got him for a strike to make it a full count. Really perfect on the corner.
Unless they go pinch hitting route here, because they do have that activity out in that bullpen right now too, which might be the move here if you're Minnesota right now, down by 2 and Haino comes up. You might call for that pinch hitting role.
Full count, got him front door. What a throw from Schiebler, and he has looked special with that curveball.
17 for 20.
My goodness, that was disgusting right there. Front doors in, buckles that front knee. and sits him down on 3-2. My goodness. Special's the perfect way to describe that.
This is the pinch hitter Otto Bears, who lines one down the right field line. They're waving in the runner from second. Here comes Kane. Throw at the plate is short. And it's 3-2.
Very nice. Very nice. Way to go, Twins.
Welcome to this ball game,
Go, Fred.
Minnesota
Everyone's
Twins
a hitter.
Nike RBI. My goodness.
Bring them home, Fred.
Great piece of hitting by the bottom of the order, and just like that, they turn the lineup card over. How about the pinch hitter, though? My goodness, and Otto Barnes, he came through when his team and his city needed him most.
Flip it back to Fred Myers, the leadoff man.
Come on,
We'll see
Fred.
a pitching change at the top of the next inning. It's 3-2 here in the bottom of the fourth. 2 outs.
Fred.
A swing and a miss from
Front
Myers, who
foot, front
falls
foot.
behind 0-2. A couple of big runs for the Twins team.
Come on, Fred.
They are very much in this competition. 4 hits apiece for both. Runner's going to go. There's going to be a throw. It's going to be very, very easy picking. That's a good one from Patton. We end the inning. Minnesota tag on 2. It's a 3-2 lead for Indy. We got a ball game on WCSN. Hano's still out there. They've re-entered him after his pinch hitter got a crucial RBI single to make it a 3-2 game. His team has gotten him back in it. Can he return the favor? DJ Mendez, Seth Hogg, and Nate Olson. 3 due up. That's 3, 4, 5, the heart of the lineup. Newfound life for Minnesota.
There you go, Baxter.
How about the confidence that Hano has to have on that mound right now?
As you say that, that one's whacked into center field. It's going to get underneath
There you go,
Kuznia's
Twins.
glove
Nice job,
for a
Baxter.
leadoff line out from DJ Mendez. Cavan is thankful for them.
I just didn't want to jinx the guy. I really didn't want to jinx him whatsoever. So he has to feel so much better. It's a one-run game yet again. He has the momentum now, which we haven't really got to say that in the last 2 years we've been at this tournament. The Minnesota Twins Nike RBI team has momentum right now and are threatening with a good defensive inning to get back out with the
Go,
sticks.
Baxter.
Seth Hogg, 1 for 2 today with an RBI double in the first. Hano works, goes upstairs and in. backs Hogg off the plate, but it's a 2-0 count with 1 away. Figuring it out. Find a way to ease your way into it, but you should be there by now, yes?
Yes.
It was down in the dirt, and it's 3 pitches, 3 balls. Different strategy today for the pitchers as well than the first game. We saw both guys exit. We had a bullpen game by the 3rd inning. This one, we've got guys into the 5th.
There was a conversation that we had, though, in that first game where it was really about
Hey,
the
Baxter!
manager.
All day, all day!
You said, like, you were the manager in that situation, you would keep your ace in there for as long as possible in these games. And both managers are firm believers in keeping their aces in for as long as possible.
So you got my take on that was simply it's a 5-pitch walk to Hogg, who gets on with 1 out. My take on that was, again, you want to ride your guy. You want him to be the guy that you want to go after. You want to support, put all your weight behind, because he's the guy you've determined to be the ace. You're a pitcher. You know the weight of that, maybe less so than other pitchers because you weren't the guy always. Come on.
I wasn't the guy always.
But, like, you know the understanding behind it, right? So what's your take on it?
As from a pitching perspective, from a pitcher's point of view, when you are told you're the guy, this is your ball, when you get that information, it's the greatest piece of information and the greatest thing you're ever told at that time, because you want to be told, hey man, you're that guy. You are that guy, pal. But for this scenario, though, in these type of tournaments, you also have to have some self-awareness, though. When you're told you're the game 1 guy, you're likely going to be told that if you get played on Sunday, that
Watch out, watch out!
you're going to have to come back and pitch again on Sunday. So in the back of your mind, the pitch count's always going to be there. Because most managers at this point in the stage, if they're riding out with their aces, they're riding out with their aces until they know
Let's go, Baxter!
the pitch count when they can come back on Sunday, if that makes sense.
That was hit hard, and another chance for Walsh to make a play. He kept it in front. Maybe he can get the lead runner. They won't turn 2, but not quite a great catch from Aiden Walsh, but still gets it out. And it's 2 away. They get the lead runner, and
Nice job,
in the
Baxter.
first is Nate Olson. Nate Mendoza is going to come up.
Play, Aiden, way to stay with it.
Yeah, and
2 down!
in this scenario, both managers are probably just eyeing what the pitch counts are. They got to figure out, all right, he's got probably an inning or 2 left just based off pitch count. And there are going to be some guys who are going to be more strict on the pitch count because they may need him for a Saturday morning or a Saturday night game possibly, because these teams are playing 4 games in a 2-day span. So the pitch count's always going to be in the mind, but at this point, for Pano as well as Schiebler respectively, it's going to be about monitoring their pitch counts until they're at a point where if they go more, they can't pitch Sunday. Which is, at the end of the day, you want your ace pitching the championship game. You want him back.
Gives you the best chance to win it all. It gives you the best chance to go to Dodgertown, to Jackie Robinson Stadium, and that whole complex. It's what everybody here is after. It's a 2-0 count to Mendoza. Runner went. The throw is a good one. It took a hop, and it maybe cost him that. He went off the bag. He was safe at first. He went off the bag, and Nate Olson's out. That ends the frame. It's 3-2 still. Indianapolis, but they couldn't get any runs. We'll see what's up. Twins up
Nice
next.
job, you guys! Let's go, Twins!
at the bottom of the 5th. We've got a pinch hitter in. Wyatt Shirley's going to bat for Fred Myers, the leadoff man. And he swings at the first one he sees. That's going to get down for a base knock. One pitch is all it took for the new man, Wyatt Shirley. And it's a leadoff base runner for Minnesota. The tying runs on the path.
Welcome to the tournament, Wyatt Shirley. My goodness. He was sitting fastball in that early count right there. First pitch to be exact. And he crushed it. Nice piece of hitting here. It's a golden spot now for the heart of the order.
Highland Park High School class of 24 as that one gets through, and Shirley slides in safely into scoring position. And here we go. New man doing his job in Minnesota, taking that momentum, grabbing it by the scruff of its neck and saying, hey, we're here.
Yeah, this is
This
the time. If you're Minnesota Twins Nike RBI, this is the moment where you need to score and tie this ball game up.
This is Peter Dauma. 0 for 2 today. He's got a K looking and a liner to right. He's got a 3-0 lead on this count against Schiebler. First signs of struggle we've seen from Charlie in a long time. The pitch, swing and a miss. And that's a little get back for him.
Come on, 4-4.
Yeah, levels it out a little bit for him. Just kind of gives him a moment to say, hey, I can still throw strikes here and be effective.
Great eye, and it's a 5-pitch walk to put runners on first and second.
Now this is where things are interesting, because now this is where small ball may come into effect, as maybe not Indy might make a move first.
We'll talk. Coach is going to come out, infield's going to come in, and Schiebler, imagine this is not the plug, but perhaps the calm down little hand on the shoulder, say, hey, we're here for you, we got you. Just focus in and lock in.
I'd imagine it's something similar to that as well. Just based off the situation. I don't think you'd pull him quite yet.
And he's given up 5 hits now at this point, but still you're up by 1. It's now the discussion of, do you trust anyone else to go get you these final outs, or is it, do you still trust him? Do you still trust that he's got the stuff still?
Bring him home.
That's the discussion currently going on in the third base dugout right now.
And you'd say what? Because to me, it looks like he has had the stuff and he's got the potential to have it, but we have seen a subtle decline over the last inning or so.
I'd say just take it at bat by at bat, see kind of how each one unfolds and see how the situation changes.
Hayden Walsh is up, singled his last time up, tried to go to the curveball on the front door and missed inside. It's Walsh and James Cray. Go ahead runs at first, game tying runs in scoring position at second.
Go, Aiden.
No outs in the bottom of the 5th. Minnesota looking for a win. Smack it straight back.
Go, 4-6. Bring him home.
Minnesota, I mean, right now you're just not trying to too jumpy. At bats in this scenario, when you're drama, you can get very jumpy as a hitter. And you don't want that, because that's when you get way out in front of breaking balls and just how you look foolish when you're at the plate right there. I'd say you can fool really easily.
Go, 4-6.
Just take it at bat by at bat, pitch by pitch. Ignore the base runners, just go up there doing a job.
High into right field. Mendoza's going back, he's got it. The runner tags at second and moving along into third, so we'll go to the corners. That's a big fly ball. Moves Shirley to third. Dauma stays at first, and that's the first out of the inning. Hayden Walsh is retired. James Cray comes up with only 1 away.
And that right there is exactly what Walsh needed after just not trying to be too jumpy there. He puts a good ball in play, he does his job, and he keeps the train moving.
Runner goes. There's going to be a throw. It's short and right.
Way to go, Peter.
That'll mean Peter Dauma's into second.
Let's go, Twins. Come on, you guys.
3-2 game. Twins can flip the script with the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Go, 5-4.
Two teams clad in blue and white. Trying to take each other on. The leg kick from the man on the mound. It's whacked. It's caught by the shortstop, and luckily for Dauma, he tagged. Exceptional stuff from DJ Mendez, and that makes it the second out, and now it's danger time for Minnesota.
That was a rocket off the bat right there. Now that Mendoza to his left makes the great catch. And it's a race back to the bag. And Tamlin's able to just sneak in there. Good for him. And boy, that would have been a really painful inning double play right there. Down been retired.
There's the lefty Jonas Sadowski. Singled and scored his last time up in the previous inning. He was the man who allowed the opening run of this game to score when he didn't time it right on a shot to left field. It's that one high into the sky. It's going to be playable in foul territory for the third baseman. Olsen, he's underneath it to make the play. Winds make some noise, but Strand 2 in the end. It's still 3-2 Circle City. Day done for Baxter Hano. Noah Jeffrey, the new pitcher, into the game for Minnesota. The righty will work from the first base side. His first offering of the game is in there, and it's just a little upstairs for ball number one. It's Nate Mendoza, the right fielder, then the left fielder, Bryson Bethel. Daniel Cross rounds out the order. That's the second baseman. A swing and a miss as it's pushed back onto the backstop. Minnesota need to make sure this is where they stop everything. They can't allow anything else to cross. They've been so close these last couple of frames. That one's whacked into the gap for a base hit. That'll be easy breezy, and Mendoza on with a leadoff single.
And right there, we talked about that good opposite field approach right there. Mendoza on display with it. Fastball away, what do? You take it that way. Setting it the direction it's either coming back from or going to. And it was going to the opposite side. Nice job there.
Here's the 7-hitter, Bryson Bethel, 0 for 2 today. Try a pickoff attempt. They might have had him, and he just avoided the tag, slid underneath it.
Ooh, don't know about that one.
That was close. Can't play with fate too much if you're Indianapolis. Only got a 1-run lead. 3-1 a year ago. They gained a knack for winning these close games. The runners went. They might have a chance to get him at second, and they should, and they do. That's Mendoza getting a little greedy, and they get him out.
Definitely designed for him to run on that play right there. And credit to Jeffrey for realizing that, hey, it could be an inserted play if he's getting that greedy without seeing a pickoff move. And he's still that greedy again. Why not throw over again, see what happens? And the move happened. Great job there by the new pitcher.
That one's upstairs. Misses low, so we go up, we go low. Try it all out. 2 balls, no strikes. It's going to be high and foul down the first base line, claimed by the CGS stands. Wind still trickling outward and from left to right towards the Chicago skyscrapers in the backdrop. Les Miller Field played host to this competition a year ago. The White Sox ace team won it all, ended up winning the whole World Series. That one's smacked. That's got a chance to get down into the gap, and it will. Another base hit for Circle City. And Bryson Bethel has a single with 1 out here in the top of the 6th.
So 2 hard hit balls here against Jeffrey. But what's intrigued me most about this is that they've still been in places in which the outfielders had a chance to make the catch, which is surprising to me because typically with a hard hit ball, you don't think there's a chance for an outfielder to make a catch unless it's kind of on a line drive right at him. Here, there's been a couple of weak line drives that have dropped in for hits.
Throw over to Bethel. Another threat to run. When you think about it, it's probably got a lot to do with the Twins straight up being conservative, making sure there's no mistakes to lose this game for them, yeah?
Yeah, they're playing to not lose right now at times is what it feels like rather than trying to win. And that's not a bad thing. In these scenarios, when you're down by a run, you're trying to play to not lose, which means doing everything very conservatively like you just said.
1-0. Snuck back in, evens it up with 1 out. Nice lead off for Bethel. Jeffrey looks him off. The righty stands on the first base side and winds one up. That's hit high into the sky. Underneath it comes Myers, and he makes the play. Haven't called his name too much today, but that's the 2nd out of the inning. It's an important one for Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, he had to dance a little bit out there in the outfield. The wind, you mentioned it literally a few minutes ago. The wind messed with that baseball a little bit. Watching its flight come down, you can kind of see it shake a little bit because the wind is really getting a factor on these baseballs out there, especially where it's changing directions at points throughout the morning.
Try and pick him off again, and he's just missed it. Here's Julian Patton, the catcher.
You got Wyatt Shirley in, right?
0 for 1 today, was walked in the 4th. That's actually Wyatt Shirley out there. Runner's going to go. Chance the throw might just be off, and it's a little too shallow. And snagging a second bag is Bryson Bethel. How about the umpire with the theatrics out there?
He's doing his own swim moves out there, too. Well done, sir. Well done.
You digging the white today from the umps? It was red yesterday.
When an umpire's, I'm a traditionalist. Either go
You true blue?
I'm either go black, go powder blue, go navy blue. Go one of those 3. I know you're from a place where they wear white or gray all the time.
I mean, I didn't know this was a thing. The gray is okay for me, I think. I didn't know the white was, it's clean. I'll give him that. 2-0. That gets away from the catcher and moving on over to 3rd. And now here we go. This would be pretty important insurance for Indianapolis. Circle City have a runner on 3rd. That's Bryson Bethel. Julian Patton at the plate. 2 outs and a hitter's count here in the top of the 6th. That one's away. That's a good snag, though, behind home plate. And that's a 4-pitch walk to the catcher, Patton. And the lineup flips over. Parker Richards, the leadoff man who singled his last time up, comes in, and there's going to be a meeting on the bump. You don't make a change quite yet, do you?
I don't think so. Not yet with 2 outs in the inning. I think if they get loaded, I think that's when you consider the change if you're gonna make one there. But most of the time, I wouldn't consider a change in this scenario. This is definitely just a pep talk, and hey, just know the situation. You force it at first, second. Don't worry about the guy going home unless it's an obvious, like, give me out. It's essentially like a bunt back up the middle right at the third baseman. But still, even then, you're just going to try to go to first with it.
Is there more detail to that game plan anywhere? Runners on the corners. You obviously know where your forces are, but is there any specific spot that if it's hit here, we're going here, hit here, we're going here?
Yeah, so essentially the big story is it's really dependent on the third baseman. Because if the ball's at the third, depending on where it's hit, if it's hit kind of charging up the middle, if he has to go straight towards his left, towards second base, the play is then, hey, you got to go to second base with this ball. If it's on the backhand, then you got to go to first, straight at you. It's your call, but normally it's first base, but they give you the choice there if it's right at you.
2 outs, top of the 6th. Runners on either side of the diamond. Parker Richards, the leadoff hitter. Is there any point of attack at the plate for Richards here, or is it just smack it into play and make something happen?
I mean, there always is a plan of attack. I think he should probably just sit fastball right now. Zooming a fastball over the heart of the plate. I don't understand why Jeffrey personally is thrown over now 3 times when he got 2 outs in the inning. That's just me personally. Focus on the hitter because you're 1 out away from keeping this a 1-run game.
Here's the first pitch to Richards. He pops one high into the sky. It's going to be playable for the second baseman who's stumbling back and makes the catch. Big one for Dauma. And Minnesota survives the inning yet again. They only trail by 1. They've got the sticks in their hands. They've got some momentum on their side on the Windy City Sports Network. Home half of the 6th, 1-run ball game. Twins are at the plate. They're trying to make up the deficit. A new pitcher into the game is the shortstop, the former shortstop, DJ Mendez. It's Eric Kane, Ezra Kuznia, and Alex Lensmeyer. The 3 due up, and Mendoza's the right fielder. Working pretty quickly into a 1-1. good day all around for Charlie Schiebler.
Yeah, great day for him. I mean, 5 runs, or 5 innings of 2-run baseball here. This frame. But now he turns to the bullpen now, and now he has to be in a spot here where he's just got to watch his fate after a great outing from him.
And you like that decision to go to the pen now?
Yeah.
That one smacked right on cue into fair territory, down for a base knock. It should be extras, it could be 3. Turning for 2 goes Kane. He's gonna have a chance to lunge for 3. Eric Kane slides in, a leadoff triple, and the tying run goes to 3rd.
I still like the move. Despite that just happening, I still like the move. And here's why. It's because of the fact that Schiebler was definitely struggling during that last inning. He just got out of it. He had all the momentum. I think throwing him out there for one more inning would have been a mistake, trying to get that fresh arm out there. That's just a great piece of hitting by Eric Kane there to put that ball down the right field line.
It's a better AB from the man who stands on third base, the third baseman on the defensive side for Twins Nike RBI. That's a good response from Mendez right down Broadway to the center fielder Ezra Kuznia, who last time up executed a sac fly to perfection. The righty winds, first base side. It's a swing and a miss from Kuznia. If you're Minnesota, you have to at least tie the game now. You've got a runner with no outs on third base. There's no excuses at this point. Kuznia's way choked up on the bat. And swings and misses on that one. And Mendez makes quick work for his first K of the afternoon.
So now here's Lensmeyer, and this is a spot for him where a guy who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts ready, he's already going to be feeling that pressure. Now it's a point of concern where you don't want to be too overly aggressive in this scenario because you don't want him to be swinging out of his shoes and him to go down on 3 pitches. He won't go down on 3 pitches because he just took a fastball for a ball, but still, the point still stands.
K looking, K swinging. Or the catcher Lensmeyer rocks that one straight back, was on top of it. Noah Jeffrey, the pitcher's in the on-deck circle. The 9 spot has seen Haino, the starting pitcher, bat, if you could call it that, respectfully. We've seen a pinch hitter come in for him, make a great play, a great effort on a single to drive in a run. And now we're likely to see the 3rd batter of the day in that spot. That one's upstairs and away. It's 2-1 with 1 out.
Yeah, and this is a spot here where I think Lensmeyer also might be feeling more pressure just based alone on he knows the situation of what's on deck.
Right up the middle, Lensmeyer drives in a run. We're tied. An RBI single from Alex Lensmeyer comes up clutch. 3-3.
That was about as perfect of an AB as you can get for Lensmeyer, a guy who was 0 for 2 coming to that one. A fastball slipped over the heart of the plate, and he made him pay.
And that is just how Twins Nike RBI would have drawn it up. Leadoff triple, RBI single to drive him in. And this is Noah Jeffrey, the lefty. Throws right, bats left. And that one just catches the corner, strike number 1. And the Twins have fought. They've got 3 unanswered runs in this one.
Hey, Noah, good eye.
Mendez missed on that one. That's a good eye from Jeffrey.
I'll say that's just a phenomenal eye right there. That fastball left over the heart of the plate, but upstairs it was running away from the left-handed hitter. And that's exactly what you want in that scenario.
Throw over. Just to check him, work on the timing. 1 run in the first for Circle City. Charlie Schiebler scored it. And in the 4th, this game kind of came alive. 2 runs in the top for Indianapolis. Mendoza and Cross passed their way to the plate. They were met with an immediate response in the bottom half. Sadowski and Kane scored to make it 3-2. We got a defensive battle the rest of the way. And in the 6th inning now, Eric Kane has crossed to make it 3-3. Two, 1 away. They'll go check him again.
I like the check.
Let's go 4-3.
You have to in this scenario, if you're Mendez, keep him on and keep him honest there. You need to have that inning double play in your back pocket as a go-to if you continue to fall behind in this at bat. So I like the check a lot.
Jeffrey pushes one opposite field. It's going to be way foul over towards the soccer stadium here at University of Illinois, Chicago.
You got this. Let's go, Noah. No one better.
2-2. Big pitch for Mendez. A ground ball can end the inning. It is one towards third. They're going to try and get the lead runner. They might not even get him. They do, just barely. Almost a moment of mistake from Olsen at third, but they get the lead runner, Lensmeyer. And in safely at first off to the fielder's choice is the pitcher, Noah Jeffrey, back to the top of the lineup.
Mike, I mean, Ryan, you want to see a close play and as close as you can possibly get in the game of baseball?
It's right there.
That might be it right there, because just how close it was. Olsen, a great diving effort, but he bounced that ball to the bag, and that's why he was almost safe at second base.
That one gets underneath, and here goes Jeffrey's courtesy runner on to second.
RBI.
That's Andre Foreman, South High School class of 23, and at the plate right now is the right fielder, Wyatt Shirley. 2 outs, runner on second, represents the go-ahead run for Minnesota.
Come on, Wyatt.
Healthy leadoff, and Shirley puts one right back towards the pitcher. It's a good snag from Mendez, and we're through 6. 3-3. It's a good one. Indianapolis started strong. Minnesota have churned their way back.
Come on, Twins. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's a first pitch just outside for ball number 1 to the leadoff hitter for Circle City, Charlie Schiebler. It's a 3-3 game. I don't know what it's taken to get here, but we've got a barn burner on our hands, and it's been a low-scoring pitcher's duel for most of it, but when the offense wants to get hits, they've pretty much been really good at that. We've seen a lot of guys get stranded, and it's been a great defensive duel at the same time. That one's outside, but it caught the corner. That one looked very, very close, and it's 1-1. Schiebler, Mendez, the pitcher, and Seth Hogg, the first baseman, the 3-2 up. 2-3-4 for Circle City, trying to win this game. Upstairs.
Let's go, Noah.
They had a 3-0 lead in this game after the end of the top of the first. We went to the middle of the fourth, rather, not the first. And then we got 2 runs from the Twin City group. That one smacked foul down the first base line. And then in this previous bottom half of the inning, Minnesota, after a long time trying to get that third run, finally found it. Make it 3-3. And they walk Schiebler to open up this 7th inning.
Yeah, right there. That was an uncompetitive fastball there from Jeffrey. Or actually, say curveball there on second glance. Didn't have the motion he wanted it to whatsoever.
Here's DJ Mendez, the pitcher. Just came in, did a good job, good enough at least, and gave up the triple, gave up the run. Trying to earn that back here in the top of the 7th. They'll try and go for Schiebler, and they won't get the pick off. 7 hits today for Circle City. 8 for the boys from the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Runner's gonna go. Throw's gonna be a good one. It's over the glove of the shortstop. Aiden Walsh had it timed to perfection. The throw from Lensmeyer was a good one, and they just couldn't quite connect, and a runner stands on second because of it.
Yeah. Bang, bang play there. If he's able to make the play, that's a big first out in the inning, and now all of a sudden, things change, and Jeffrey changes the way he attacks this hitter.
1-1. Jeffrey works the righty. Did he get the corner? No, and it's 2-1 now. Here we go. Go ahead, runner. Stands on second, scoring position. Schiebler's already got 1 run himself today. Mendez is 1 for 3. Back-to-back lineouts.
Balk.
And they got him for a balk, and that means Schiebler's going to go to third with nobody out in the top of the 7th.
My goodness, that's the worst possible timing there for Jeffrey. He kind of had a little hitch there in his back leg. That's his plant leg. And so upon the movement there, it's a balk. And that runner gets that extra 90 feet. My goodness.
And I'll ask you a question after this AB, as that one's smacked into right field, perfect territory. It's right dead center of that right field area. Schiebler tags and goes. The cutoff's not a good one. And it's a 4-3 lead for Indianapolis. Circle City take back their advantage.
That's a team at bat right there by Mendez. He knew he didn't have to play the hero. He just knew that a fly ball would get the job done. He does just that. They benefited from the balk, and they made him pay for the balk as well.
So, high school ball. I'm kind of new to the world of 18U, 15U, right? Balks are this common, or is this sort of, we've seen 2 or 3 today alone. I think we saw 1 or 2 yesterday as well.
Yeah, they're pretty common
Yeah?
in the high school game.
Okay.
At least in Chicago they are, and I guess throughout the Midwest.
That one's hitting the dirt before it bounces on up and out of the glove. This is Seth Hogg, the righty, the first baseman. 1 for 2 today, also has a walk in the 5th. If they're pretty common, and you sounded like you'd been a victim of 1 or 2 in your life, how many balks you been called for, you think?
1.
Just 1?
1. I know. I remember exactly when it was too.
2-0. Missed upstairs.
It was October of 2015.
That is
A long time ago.
8 years ago?
Yeah.
Ew. That's a long time.
Yeah.
What were you, 12?
Yes.
13? You got called for a balk when you were 13 as Seth Hogue on a 4-pitch walk takes his spot at first base. What?
Mm-hmm.
You were 12, 13?
Our fall ball had it, yeah, because the final year before high school ball, so they started getting ready for you to play high school ball. We had 80-foot base paths instead of 90. So traditionally, at that age level, it's 70-foot base paths, and you're going from 48 feet. They made it 80 and 55 feet or something like that for the mounds. Something like that, because they were just trying to prepare all the players to get to high school ball. And so, well, they knew that no one was ready for 90 feet, 60 feet, 6 inches yet. So they figured they'd bring it down by 10 feet on the base paths and whatever the equal distance is on the mound. And balks were a thing.
That has to be, the can't be a lot of fields with that dimension in the city.
Well, it's still your standard baseball field. It's just because most of the fields that 13 and 14-year-olds in Chicago are playing on, it's an all dirt infield. There's no grass.
Okay.
So you can afford to move the bases around in certain distances and whatnot.
I guess that makes sense. A little bit of a discussion, but Jeffrey stays out there and works from the wind and throws strike number 1 into Nate Olson. Runner on first is Hogg. It's a 4-3 lead following a sacrifice fly from DJ Mendez. Circle City have worked their way back out in front, and that one's outside. Olson's the third baseman. He's 1 for 3 today. Wind still blowing out towards center.
Way to go, Noah! No one better.
Swing and miss, and that's a good one, Jeffrey. Downs Nate Olson, second out of the inning. And much as it was a couple innings ago for the pitching staff of Minnesota, you're down a run. Simply put here, it's about making sure you're going to the bottom of this 7th inning only down a run.
Exactly, and that's so far has done a nice job of doing that. Is Jeffrey as he gets a big swing there too from Mendoza.
Good job behind home plate from Lensmeyer to hold the runner at first. That's Hogg. Mendoza is 1 for 2 today, reached on a fielder's choice and scored back in the 4th inning. He stole a bag. Hogg goes. It's a good throw, but it's not good enough. And shortstop Walsh couldn't hold on to it anyway. And that'll be a stolen bag for Seth Hogg, the first baseman.
I like the aggressiveness there from Hogg, and also he's a guy that probably most people weren't expecting him to try to steal an extra 90 feet there whatsoever. We got a good jump, and he took that base.
Now if you're Jeffrey, you've got 2 outs. It's a 1-2 count. You need 1 strike. You're locking in on the pitcher, on the batter rather. Goes curveball over the head of Mendoza, and the count is even. Deuces wild here in the 7th.
All right, Noah. Deep breath, reset.
Runner on second.
1 more, Noah, 1 more.
2-2, 2 outs. Top of the 7th, 4-3 ball game. Jeffrey sets. And missed outside. Did Mendoza go? No, he didn't. We go full.
Oh, Noah, so close. 1 more.
It was very close.
4-3.
I thought so.
Fire it in there.
It was very, very close.
3-2, 2 outs. Jeffrey right back up the middle. Picked up by the shortstop. Bobbled by Walsh. The throw's going to be close. Did he keep his foot on the bag? Yes, he did. Minnesota hang on by a thread, by a toe. 4-3 game, bottom of the 7th. Twins can walk it off with 2 runs. the 7th inning. Les Miller Field, Curtis Granderson Stadium, Chicago, Illinois. The 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament. Game number 3 on the 18U baseball bracket comes down to 3 outs. A 4-3 lead for Indianapolis Circle City. After they got a run in the top of the 7th, they lead the Minnesota Twins Nike RBI team, who are at the plate. They need 1 to tie it. They need 2 to win it, and they are 3 outs away from losing it. A new pitcher into the game is Nate Olson, who plunks the first batter he sees, and Peter Dalma will take his bag, and it's 1 on. The tying run goes to the base path. The game-winning run goes to home plate.
Well, I don't think that's the outing and start that I think that Olson really wanted. Nate Olson just try to establish a curveball first pitch, which you don't see many pitchers do when they're first out of the bullpen. They normally try to establish the fastball. He was trying to establish curve there and just didn't have the handle on it.
Righty Aiden Walsh, the shortstop, 1 for 3 today. 2 pop-outs to right field and a single. He was left stranded at second. That's a loud swing of the bat. It's over the head of the outfielders. It's going to drop. It does. Down into the outfield. Coming around is Dalma. He's going to score. It's a long one. They're waving through Walsh. Walsh has a chance. There's going to be a play at the plate. The throw is not in time. Walk off inside the park. Home run. Minnesota wins it. A Little League hero, Aiden Walsh, gets Minnesota to 1-0.
Wow. Second inside the park home run today. And Minnesota team who struggled all tournament long a year ago at scoring and winning baseball games. Game 1 of day 1 for them. They come from behind twice and walk it off. My goodness. What a way to win a ball game and win a big opening game for Minnesota Twins Nike RBI.
A 3-0 game in the middle of the 4th is turned into a chaotic finish down the stretch. 5-4, our second Little League home run of the day, and this one was legit. No errors anywhere. They tossed it in. They waved around Dalma. He got in to tie it, and Walsh was coming around, and you said, is he waving him through? And he was. And you thought for a second, oh no, why not, I guess, though? No outs on the board. Take your chance. And Minnesota, winless a year ago, win their first game in 2023.
And the other big story, though, is just they got waved through because of just the cutoff and not being able to cleanly cut that ball off in the outfield. And congratulations to Minnesota. That's a big first win, a big first step for them.
A heroic turn from the shortstop, Aiden Walsh. And a Minnesota team that went 0-for on this same stage in 2022 start 1-0 and start on top in 2023. That'll be all for us on this one. 2 games down, 3 more games to go. It's a 5-game day from Curtis Granderson Stadium and Les Miller Field. For Kevin Malater, I've been Ryan Sikora. Minnesota in walk-off variety, 5-4 over Indianapolis Circle City.